I have a question from the comments on YouTube. So, in your view, what is mind? Simple question. Mind. There are two ways of describing mind. One is as a model for an experience, and there is the experience of mind, which I can only point to. The model is a description of the functions, and the experience is self-evidently recognized within yourself. So I'll start with the model. The model of mind is that there is supposedly a box in which thoughts exist. And there can be thoughts that come in from outside the box, like input to a computer, and that computer has a memory function, processing function, and these thoughts are processed and memorized within the box. They are received within the box or they are put out of the box. And that box exists somewhere within our nervous system as a human body or within a soul structure. So that is the model. If we look in our immediate experience, we don't find any box. That is, we don't find a mind as an object that stably exists. We just find the flow of thinking. And I use the word thinking as a verb to indicate that it is a continuum or a continuous process. It's not a thing that's static. Like a thought, it's not a thing that remains statically still. It is a flow. There is the emergence of an image and its disappearance. And the image is not stable, it's a continuous flow. So there is like a wave within consciousness, consciousness being the ocean, and there is a current or a wave within the ocean, and that is what we call a thought. So, what we call the mind. So, the word mind is a concept that tries to refer to a wave. But the wave itself, experientially, is constantly changing. So, the label is not what the movement of experience is by itself. Like take any image, like image of a wave. Imagine that image, and it's constantly changing. Then take another thought that tries to say that's a wave. The image of the wave was already moved and somehow subsided slightly as this new wave has emerged and pointed its finger at this previous image and said, that's a wave. Even the words, that's a wave, are a continuous process. There's no static element to that. And we can see this with sound. All of these words that are being uttered now could easily be thoughts. That is, they could be a flow of thinking. And they're constantly changing. There's nothing static in these words. So we cannot find a mind or a thought as a static object. We just find change. There's no mind that exists independently of that changeful thinking process in our experience. We can postulate some kind of container where these movements of thinking arise from, but we don't actually experience any. If we try to look for the mind, we don't actually find the mind. We only find consciousness, either in repose or as movement. And you scientists who are listening and are very surgical in examining the dynamics of experience will have recognized that even change is displayed to us as continuous. But if we probe with a microscope, we will recognize that there are only discrete phenomena. That even a thought, if we were to look with some kind of contemplative microscope, would see a succession of tiny increments of discrete pieces of information that would appear and disappear. But if we were to look to the very Planck scale of what a thought is, it would not be intelligible to us. It would just be a kind of wong, wong, wong. There would not be anything that we could, on a human level, determine to be mind-like. It would be more like a pulse at the quantum scale, a pulse, some very discrete and tiny piece of information arising and subsiding. So we could call that mind. We could say a thought basically is this pulse of one or zero, some binary unit. So in this sense, mind is duality. Thought is duality. As a model. And experientially, it is this pulse, this on, off. And that on, off, that pulse is not fundamental to consciousness. When it's off, it's not present. There's just consciousness, conscious of itself. So consciousness does not require the mind or that pulse or duality to know itself, to be conscious of itself. The mind cannot give consciousness's consciousness to itself.